So here we are, Brands Hatch, round one of the 2014 MCE Insurance British Superbike Championship in association with Pirelli. As the Beatles once famously sang, "Will you still need me when I'm 64?" Well, the emphatic answer is yes. Brands Hatch's first road race, staged by the Greenwich Motorcycle Club on Easter Monday 1950, was 64 years ago today. The weather was better then, but fortunately we have a much kinder forecast for tomorrow. Meantime, these are the filthy conditions that these boys have to play with. Back in 1950, of course, that climb up to Druids Bend wasn't in. The Druids Hill didn't exist until 1954. But this is the almost original kidney-shaped Brands Hatch Indy circuit. And that means the fastest man so far in today, we've got a faller already.
Brooks
has fallen on his exploratory lap on the Milwaukee Yamaha. It's a 20-minute session with 32 riders out on track. So Brooksy has time to sort himself out. But remember, only 20 riders go through to qualifying 2. 10 riders then move on to qualifying 3. So what has Brooksy got time to sort this out? It's looking in a bit of a state. The bike will certainly need a good clean-up, James Whittam.
Yeah, I really can't see anything too badly wrong with it. He's obviously just slid off. It's dead easy done. I cannot tell you how easy that is. Like James was saying just then, the track's a little bit green. It's difficult to read the conditions. Just so easy to get a little bit too much throttle open, touch a white line, or not even any of that. Just slide off. It's just that easy.
So, this is bike number 4. This is Dan Linfoot from Wetherby in North Yorkshire on the Quattro Plant Kawasaki. He is one of the early pace setters here. He's got out cleanly at the front.
Look how the bikes are moving around. Look how the riders are not even leaning the bikes over that much. You would expect going into Druids in normal weight conditions to bang on its side, get it on your knee and just rail around the corner. Not so. And one of the problems here at Brands is the circuit's used quite a lot. Not just for bike track days, but for car track days, for launches of, you know, car products, for corporate days. And you never just know, every time you come, what the grip levels are going to be like, especially in conditions like this.
So we're watching 25-year-old Dan Linfoot, who's had a variety of championships. He's ridden in from 250cc MotoGP Championship back in 2007 to British 125, European 250, European Superstock. Oh, and James, it's treacherous. It's absolutely treacherous.
And that's exactly the right word, Jack. You know, when you're out there, there's lots of lying water. You don't know from when it's raining this hard. I've just walked into the commentary box. I've been out in pit lane about 20 seconds ago. He's changing all the time. Look, he opens the throttle, it lets go, and that was quite quick the way it went then.
One of the faster men this morning has fallen on the Halsel Kawasaki. That's an unfortunate start for Lee Costello.
Yeah.
And the fastest man on track at the moment suddenly is Patrick Muff, would you believe, who riding the Batham's Honda, who's had a year out, the Swiss rider. We saw him in this championship in 2012.
Yeah, we've got a good shot of Taylor Mackenzie chatting in the Tyco Suzuki garage with Hector Neal, team owner. And that was Ben Wilson just going through on the Kawasaki. You can't really see a lot of who was going through with the legs.
There is Keith Farmer. He's currently second quickest.
And he'll be quick.
1 minute, 0.228 second. The fastest man, Patrick Muck, 59.911. The only man beneath a minute at this point.
Watch for Keith Farmer. He is unbelievably brave. I think somebody else is off because could hear the crowd then. I had a big hat there. I knew that had happened.
And that's Jakob Smerts, I think. Smerts, who's currently in 5th place with a 1 minute, 1.077.
It is Jakob, yeah, definitely.
Jakob Smerts on the Millsport, or rather off the Millsport Ducati Panigale.
We see it.
That was quick.
It was a quick one, was that? It was. The bike's not hit anything.
Snapped underneath him.
Yeah, that's just on the brakes. You touch your brakes. You've got to, when you hit the brakes.
Josh Waters on the Tyco Suzuki, James. Hopefully not hitting the brakes too hard. Wildman Waters.
You've got to be careful. You hit the brakes. You've got to let the weight settle on the front end before you really make it dig in. You can't just hit them really hard like you can in the dry. Because if there's no weight on the front end, or the rear for that matter, it'll spin a lot easier and slide a lot easier.
Fastest man is now Keith Farmer. Second, Patrick Muff. Third, Simon Andrews, making his return to British Superbikes. John Hopkins, number 21, is running in 4th place for Tyco Suzuki. He's just passed through camera there. So this is Hopper back in action. James, you were saying that one of his major challenges is the fact that he no longer has kind of flashy gear change mechanisms, which is always what he's had to use in the past. He's now got to go back to the old-fashioned way of changing gear.
Yeah, this man we're looking at there, John Hopkins, says that since 2004, which is going right back to his MotoGP days, he's had auto blippers and he's had all sorts of electronic aids to help it change gear up the box and down the box. And this is the first year with the rules the way they are in BSB. It's all a lot less electronics. He has to do it all manually with the clutch and with the gear lever. That's been a little bit of a shock to the system, I think, for the American.
We're in the Lloyd's British GP Motors Kawasaki camp. Of course, they've moved from Honda Fireblades onto the ZX-10R Kawasaki's in 2014.
That was Ellison we just saw in the garage there.
And looking at the Milwaukee Yamaha out on track.
And Keith Farmer, it looks like Keith Farmer going on. That's on the blue bike going underneath, and he looks like the man on the move at the minute. He's quickest, and he's a very, very, very brave Irishman, he's that. Always has been.
Keith Farmer from Clocker on the PR Racing Kawasaki. Deceptively blue, 58.531. He goes even faster. Hopper is second, 59.04. Andrews third.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, Jack, another one off.
Another Halsell bike, that will be Harry Hartley, I think.
Yeah.
The youngest man on the course, of course, 17 years old, who former 125-stroke Motor 3 rider.
And until this point, hasn't been off in all pre-season, in the dry and in the wet, and he's been really quick and really taking to that ZX-10 well, is Harry Hartley. Only just gone 17 as well. He's
in 20th place at the moment. This is James Ellison, who's proudly wheeling round his 5 months old today, his son Ryder, lovely little blue-eyed boy. James Ellison just sitting quietly while a few adjustments are made to the GP Motors Kawasaki.
Yeah, Ellison down there in 19th. I mean, James is careful. He won't want to make a mess of this. You know, remember, it's the top 20 that go through to Q2, and then 10 go through on to Q3.
And at the moment, the people in danger, shall we say, 20th is Hartley, 19th Ellison. That is Tommy Bridewell, surely.
No, it's Brian Brooks. That's Brooks again. Oh, and that looks like Chris Walker.
Chris Walker's
number 9.
Yeah, at the same place.
Yeah, this is Clearways, and this corner, particularly about an hour ago, has claimed one or two people, both in the Ducati tri-options and also the Triumph race. So it's seen a bit of action there.
Number 55, Peter Baker on the Morello Racing Kawasaki.
Yep, East Anglian, oldest man in the world, or is he just in the BSB?
Well, I'll tell you what, he's 11th quickest at the moment.
I tell you what, he is absolutely no mug. Do not be fooled. He's fast.
Do not be fooled by that rear view of him ballooning up in his black waterproofs. So Peter Baker then, currently 11th fastest with 59.98. He's the last man underneath the 1 minute barrier, with Shaky Byrne just behind him, not to mention Michael Rutter and Ben Wilson.
Michael Dunlop is 4th. How good's that on the BMW?
Dunlop then, the 24-year-old road racing superstar, lying in 4th place on the build-based BMW.
And in fact, Michael Dunlop's first ever TT win was in conditions similar to this on a Supersport bike, and he just took off and went away won by a mile, he did. He knows how to ride these conditions.
Farmer, Westmoreland, Muff, Dunlop, Chianari, Hopkins. That's just changed round. Chianari's gone quickest, 57.738. Very relaxed as we watch Peter Baker cross the line. He remains in 12th place now, behind Walker, who is momentarily out of proceedings. But Chianari, the only thing he's dismayed about is he's scarred his lovely new leathers in testing at Snetterton, but he said he'll have a new pair on tomorrow.
John Hopkins in the Tyco garage. And, you know, conditions when it's like this are really funny, especially when people know that it's quite easy to fall off. That's Brooks on his way back to the paddock. I don't know what his plan is now. You see he's got a new tyre on the front. You can see the line round it still. Back to the paddock. That's going in the back entrance to the pit lane.
This is Shaky Byrne. He's currently in 10th place. Of course, the top 20 go through into qualifying 2. So the ex-champion coming into pit lane. Brooks, incidentally, has only got a time of 1 minute 4.623 to his name. He's 29th out of 30.
Number 20, 19th just at the minute, Jenny Timmuth. She's been going quicker than ever round Brands Hatch. She's lapped half a second quicker in the dry than she ever has, and she's been here a few times, has Jenny.
And that's apparently down to the fact that that Clive's been doing a bit of tweaking on her bike.
Yeah, Clive Paget, they said that if they could share their garage, which Jenny had a garage because she's in the super bike class, and the Padgett's guys didn't because they're in super stock. But if they could share the garage, they'd help her with the bike. Obviously, they know the way around the Honda Fireblade, and that's helped immensely. Jenny's never been as confident with the setup of a bike.
Brilliant. We're looking at Kianari, who's really at home on the build-based BMW. 57.35 gives him a half-second advantage at the moment over Keith Farmer. So the three-time champion, has he found a home he's enjoying? He certainly seemed very relaxed and chirpy in his garage when I spoke to him just before this session, James.
Chatted with him last night, and he said in the wet and in the dry that the bike's good. He doesn't feel he had the pace in the dry to go anywhere near Brooks and Byrne, but he said things were improving.
Shaky Byrne just keeping an eye on things from the Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki garage.
Yeah, he's in 11th now with a 59. He's gone sub 1 minute, and that should be enough. That should be enough. This is a 20-minute session, this first one, Q1, of which there is 9 minutes left. We're about halfway through.
Muddied Josh Brooks getting prepared to go back out. Let's hope that he can make some impression here.
Big problem when it's like this is keeping a clear visor so you can actually see where you're going. As the mechanics work on his bike and get that sorted out, it doesn't look too bent, the bike. You've got to check the levers, check there's no cracks that you haven't seen. You don't want to get out on it again and have a lever falling off for a footrest. He has then just stuck another visor on the thing. You can see it's double glazed, so it's got there's another kind of visor within that visor to stop it steaming up. But seeing in these conditions is always a problem.
As if they haven't got enough to contend with. His teammate Tommy Bridewell on the other Milwaukee Yamaha has got a transponder not working at this moment.
Yep, and Easton is down there in 20th. He's definitely in danger. The Smirts, we know he's on the floor, but there is people who can out him from that top 20 that he needs to be in to go through to Q2. There he's number 5, Stuart Easton, plain helmet.
The reigning British Super Sport champion with Martrain Yamaha last year in 2013, 10 seasons after he'd originally won it on the 748 Ducati.
Quietly spoken from Hoyk. And just a really, really nice lad. I don't know how old he is now. He's getting on for 30, I think. But he
is actually the big 3.
But you still talk to him. It's like talking to your paper boy. It's like he's 12 still.
And I'll tell you what, he does need a time change. 1 minute 2.82 is just enough. He's got 20th place at the moment. Behind him, he's got Smirts, Josh Wainwright, of course, who's made a late appearance in the entry list on the Quelch After Dark Motorsport Kawasaki. And then Aaron Zanotti, Harry Hartley, Ian Hutchinson in 25th place, saying to me that he's chipping away, but he said this is the first time he's ridden in the wet since I was broken in two at Silverstone, as he tells it. So obviously not feeling entirely confident.
I can understand that. Conditions not dissimilar from this, actually.
Kianari still is on top. Michael Dunlop is now second. It's a build-based BMW 1-2-4 with Westmoreland in 4th place, Farmer splitting them up in 3rd, and then Patrick Muff, James Ellison, Richard Cooper, we haven't mentioned yet, number 47, the former Superstock Thou champion on the Anvil Hire Tag Racing Kawasaki. He's in 7th place, the little Nottinghamshireman, ahead of Josh Waters in 8th, Tommy Bridewell 9th, John Hopkins in 10th. Martin Jessop's in there in 11th, Simon Andrews 12th.
Easton stays down there. That last lap of a 1 minute 1.096 just about equals his previous best, but it doesn't actually move him up any places, and he could do with moving up a couple to be safe, I've got to say.
This is Michael Dunlop.
Yeah, good. Michael Dunlop's not tall, but he's a stocky, strong lad who's absolutely frightened of nothing, I'll tell you that. He's just not scared. And you see the bike moving around a lot there. And I mean, he's only down here really to get himself in the zone for when the road racing season proper, you know, the pure roads kick off, like the Northwest in a couple of weeks, and then I think we've got about 4.5 weeks to the TT. But this is just proving the theory wrong that, you know, riders, if they're good at the TT, and he's a multiple TT winner, is Michael, that they can't ride the short circuits, and he can, he definitely can.
Michael, incidentally, was 25 years old on the 10th of April, so just had his birthday.
And you know, he's almost an enigma, is Michael. Funny, very intelligent, likes to work on his own bikes, likes to get his overalls on, or even sometimes without his overalls. I saw him kneeling down changing the oil on one of his bikes in the Isle of Man with rigger boots and a pair of football shorts. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty, but just yeah, a little bit of an enigma. He smokes a pipe sometimes, and he's but he can ride a bike, there's no question. And like I said, he's absolutely fearless, without fear. Oh,
Michael Dunlop currently just 0.005 of a second behind Yuichi Kianari, and he looks like he wants to go a bit faster, but someone should tell him, don't need to do it just yet, Michael. Save it for the next session.
I remember in the Super Sport race he won in the Isle of Man, a lot of the riders wouldn't go out. It's wet, obviously a lot more at stake around there. You don't want to be sliding off around the TT course. He said, oh, I'm going. It just went, not even any question in his mind whether he was going to race. He was there to race and he went.
This is Yuichi Kianari.
Yep.
They're lovely leathers, the new leathers he's got, with a kind of rising sun, Japanese kind of design on the front of them. They're great. They're a bit scuffed around that left shoulder from the Snetterton mishap. There's Tommy Bridewell in the Milwaukee Yamaha camp. He's currently, where is he? Bridewell is 6th, so
yep.
He's made an improvement. He's now on 58.361. Michael Rutter has been pushed down to 20th place. Perhaps not as handy in the rain as he used to be. That means Stuart Easton's out. Easton is out in 21st. So too is the Australian Super Sport champion and debutant in this class of racing, Mitchell Carr, Ian Hutchinson, Jakob Smertz, Josh Wainwright, Zanotti, Hartley, Barry Burrell.
There's Rutter, somebody else is off. That looks like it could be, it's a Kawasaki, I think.
Boys, that went, they went down pretty hard and bounced.
Oh, that's Simon Andrews.
Simon Andrews has gone down. Andrews was having a good session until that point. He'd been dropped to 15th place, but still looking comfortably inside.
And that's somebody else. That's
Kawasaki.
No, let's have a look.
Shaky Burns dropped the Rapid Solicitors Kawasaki. That's the second time today. He's looking a bit displeased with himself, the local man from Sittingbourne in Kent. He's in 5th place at the moment anyway, so he's comfortably into the next session as he stalks off. You can see the body language there.
So that's 3 off that last lap. We've seen 3 for sure. And you can see, look, you can see that Shaky's not happy because he thinks the conditions as they are, that they shouldn't be out there. He's saying that it's just really slick and there's a lot of water down.
Well, you have to say, James, that the sidecars refused to go out, well, you refused to race just 20 minutes ago, half an hour ago.
Yeah, and that's unusual because sidecars, they normally go out in any conditions. I mean, they can get a slide like a car without spinning upside down. Shaky's going to get a lift back with his teammate now, Stuart Easton.
Stuart, incidentally, has gone back into 20th place, presumably not 2 up.
No. Obviously struggling with the conditions a bit, Stuart. You'd expect him to be a little bit further up than that. First time back on a superbike for some time, though. You can expect him to be a little bit, well, wants to be safe, I would say.
So Kianari and Dunlop lead the way at the moment from Farmer and Westmoreland. Then Shaky Burn 5th, Tommy Bridewell, who's in the garage shivering, is 6th. Michael Rutter has suddenly vaulted up to 7th place on the Batham's Honda.
Yeah, ideal. No, it's actually BMW. No,
sorry,
Honda.
Batham's BMW, thank you.
Oh, yeah, this looks like this. Is this Hutchie? I think it is.
This is Ian Hutchinson.
Ian Hutchinson.
Hutchinson's on the FFX Yamaha, trying to make some progress from 23rd place at the moment, but looking understandably wary of conditions, especially in view of the quality of people who've been wiping out.
Yeah, Hutchinson, another, well, obviously, no more for his TT riding, but that doesn't mean he's a mug on short circuits. He's wanted this opportunity, well, not to ride in the way of Brands and slip around, but certainly an opportunity to have a full-time ride on a good bike in BSB. He's waited for this for a long time. Just back, he was out for 3 years with that injury sustained at almost life-changing injury.
He actually had his first British Championship win at the Donington Park in 2006, going back that long to, you know, for actual short circuit success
on a stocker.
On a stocker.
Yeah. He rode the stocker really well. For Padgett's generally, more on the Padgett's than any other bike. Also a round winner at British Super Sport as well.
He's almost edged into the top 20, James. He's 21st with that lap of 59.839. That moved him into 21st place. Jenny Tinmouth is just ahead of him. Jenny Tinmouth on 1 minute 00.454.
Yeah, Jenny's really enjoying this, and do you know, Jenny, because she's usually somewhere around about 20th, 22nd, 23rd, do not be fooled into thinking that ain't going round here quick. It is. What she's doing now is not easy. It's easier to fall off these things than it is to stay on when conditions like this.
We just got a glimpse there of number 35, Mitchell Carr, the Australian, who did some riding in the World Supersport Championship with limited success last season.
Ellison's been out. He got himself into 12th, so he is... we'll be a little bit happy with that. That should be enough, I think, unless there's a spurt at the end and a lot of people go quicker. That should be quick enough for Ellison to make it through into Q2.
The checkered flag goes out. Hutchinson's in. Hutchinson put that last lap in of 59.526, edged Jenny Tinmouth out by about 300ths of a second.
He's not done yet. There is people out there that's behind him. But that's Michael Dunlop. You would not want to fight that lad, I'll tell you.
He is, but I find him one of the most charming of lads to talk to. In private conversation, he's a delightful chap.
He's lovely. He's strong as an oxo. He's just one of them lads. He's just a physically very strong lad. And like I say, he's brave. But he knows his bikes. People think he's a road racer. He doesn't know what he's doing with the setup. But he is actually quite, what's the word, picky and good at setting the bike up.
So at the moment, the people who just look to have been edged out of the top 20. Here's Jenny Tinmouth. She is the one out on track, trying to get into that top 20 again. This'll make or break it. She's 21st at the moment. She crosses the line. Oh, she's done 17. It. She's shoved Ian Hutchinson out and jumped into 17th place with a 59.048. And she's passed Martin Jessup, Simon Andrews and Peter Baker is in there, still in 20th place.
You look at who's behind Jenny Tinmouth now. Simon Andrews, Ian Hutchinson, Mitchell Carr, Stuart Easton, Dan Linfoot. Unbelievable. Go on, Jenny.
Oh, and in the midst of all this, folks, can I just say that Josh Brooks had jumped back aboard and very bravely hiked himself through to 8th place.
Oh, yeah, we missed
with
that.
a 58.365, so he has comfortably made it through into qualifying too. These are the MCE BSB Data Tag Extreme qualifiers of Q1. Yuichi Kianari, Michael Dunlop, Patrick Muff and Keith Farmer ahead of James Westmoreland, Shaky Byrne, Tommy Bridewell, Josh Brooks, John Hopkins and Michael Rutter. Look how many BMWs are in there. Ben Wilson is 11th for Geerlink Kawasaki on their debut appearance in British Superbikes. James Ellison, Richard Cooper, Josh Waters, Chris Walker 15th ahead of Josh Wainwright. Splendid in his debut on the Quelch After Dark Kawasaki. Jenny Tinmouth, how about that for a final lap on the TWR Honda? Martin Jessup, Simon Andrews and Peter Baker on the Morello Kawasaki. So the unlucky boys who are just out of it: Ian Hutchinson, Mitchell Carr, Stuart Easton, Dan
kind of matte vinyl black, obviously, and it's kind of a stealth design, but when it's on track it's really visible because nobody else has that kind of colour. It's brilliant, really good.
The Black Panther.
Yeah.
Out comes female variety. Out comes number 33, Michael Dunlop on one of the 3 build-based BMWs. Dear Stuart Hicken. As he says, you know, engines put together by a pensioner, the whole team pretty much put together by himself and his son, and working very hard with three riders out on track this weekend. Yeah,
well, Stuart Hicken might be a pensioner, but I'll tell you what, he's no mug, that bloke. He knows how to put an engine together, and he lives for this as well. Absolutely lives for it.
This is Brands Hatch, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. This is qualifying 2 in the MCE Insurance British Superbike Championship in association with Pirelli. The opening round, the opening skirmish. James Ellison on the Lloyd's British GB Moto Kawasaki.
Yep, you see the clock ticking down. It was the first session 20 minutes, this session 12, and then just 8 minutes for Q3 should you make it through.
Ellison leads the way then, very keen to get out on track and see how he's doing with the car. He was explaining to you 1 or 2 things he'd been doing with the Kawasaki, James, at lunchtime.
Yes, he was. He said they'd load the bike. He didn't want as much weight transference when he hit the brakes. He wanted to try and get the back with a bit more weight in it when he initially tapped the throttle on mid-corner, because if you've got more weight in these conditions, it means more grip. If you're forcing that wet tyre through the rain onto the track, you get more grip. So, yeah, there's ways of doing it. You want softer suspension when it's like this because you haven't got the same lean angles or the same centrifugal force, but you really do want the bike to still have a little bit of suspension, which it wouldn't have if it had dry settings. It'd be just too firm.
Do you know, you've got to be, that's pretty brave. You're going out at the front into what is already slightly unknown conditions, James. It's obviously changed a fraction since you were first out there. And here's Josh Brooks, of course, because his bike has had to be readied and cleaned up, ready for its second outing. He's not yet out on track. As Kianari once more goes to the top of the timing sheets, 58.7. Farmer second, Ellison third, Rutter in fourth, ahead of Richard Cooper, Chris Walker, Martin Jessup, James Westmoreland, Tommy Bridewell, Ben Wilson. That's the top 10, with Tinmouth just outside in 11th place. There's number 11, Michael Rutter on the Batham's BMW.
Yeah, Michael traditionally is a really good wet weather rider, very smooth. I've ridden with, he's one of the only riders left that I've actually ridden with, is Michael, and he's ultra smooth, and that's where you get the grip from in these conditions. Smooth on the throttle, smooth the way he moves the bike around, smooth the way he turns it into the corners, and if you're getting a maximum amount of grip that's available from your front and rear tyre, that's what it's about in these conditions.
Goes fastest, 58.454. Now the fastest man on track, Rutter, ahead of Kianari, Farmer and Ellison in fourth place, leading out there on track. So Michael Rutter, the veteran out there. I love the way that he's adapted his dad's helmet design and produced the colour scheme to match the bike.
His dad, multiple world champ in the Formula 2 class and also multiple TT winner, Tony, and back in the day was people like Mick Grant were actually not scared of him, but certainly gave him a lot of respect. Very, very good rider, Tony, in his day. Really was. On 4 strokes and 2 strokes.
This is Hopper on the slightly unfamiliar red and white leathers. He's currently in 13th place.
Put a little bit of weight on since last time we saw him in the UK, and that should be good in these conditions. Somebody's off, and that looks like clearways as well, where we've seen a few incidents already. Who's that going to be? Let's have a look.
And we think it's James Ellison who's gone down.
It is
77. James Ellison. Oh no, I hope he hasn't hurt himself. He's lying there in the gravel. That's been a big one, James. He was looking.
This Keo.
So Kianari currently has gone fastest again, 57.448.
And I'll just give it a mention. You'll see that when you get a rear shot of these bikes, they have the now compulsory wet weather lights. All these bikes have. That's actually got 3 on that BMW. But yeah, they've got wet weather lights, so they've got a little LED light on the back, just to let other riders. It's really difficult sometimes. Ooh, go on, Keogh. Careful, lad. It's difficult to see bikes in front because a lot of spray comes off the tyres of these bikes. If you're right behind them, it's really difficult to see them. So the lights are, for me, a really good idea. They don't need to be used in the dry. They do, however, anytime you've got wet weather tyres on, or it's declared a wet race, you must have your rear lights on.
We've got a reassuring rider OK come up on our screen after number 77 had fallen at Clearways. So that's a huge relief, because James Ellison didn't look in the best of nick just for a moment. Then he's now into 12th place, of course, and he's out of qualifying 3. This is Shaky Byrne, who's yet to actually come out and set a time. There's some very cool customers coming out late here.
And he's got a big job to do on Shaky, because he's been out there, slid off the bike, they've straightened it out, no problem. But psychologically, he knows he's got to go out and push on, get a time in, when, you know, every time you fall off, it gets more difficult to go out again.
Oh, Michael Dunlop. He was trampolining over the crest at the end of the Brabham Straight there. Here's Josh Wildman Waters going through on the Taiko Suzuki. Waters is currently in 14th place. Needs to make a bit of progress if he's to tuck himself into that top 10. This is Waters, who's now living with his beautiful fiancée just in a village outside Leicester, comfortably close to Ashby de la Zouch and the home of the Mackenzies. Of course, he rides on the same team as Taylor Mackenzie, so he and T-Mac go and do some training together and hang out. And also, Jan likes to have the potential Mrs. Waters come across and visit as well. So it's all a very happy kind of family scene there. So they've got themselves nicely set up. They've got Lee Adams, the Australian former number 2 in the World Speedway Championship, that got his old motorhome. So everything's working nicely for the Waters clan. But that was a bit of a moment there for Josh coming out of Clearways. Yeah,
that wasn't working so well for him.
Waters crosses the line, 59.364, doesn't improve him. He's still stuck in 14th place. In fact, he goes back to 15th now. Ahead of him, we've got 10th place is held by Bridewell. The guys who've been edged out right now are Rutter, the fallen Ellison. Here is Michael Rutter and the IWR Batham's BMW rider. There's Peter Buckingham on the left of picture, former British Superbike Cup champion, advising him on, asking what he needs doing. Susie grinning in the background. She doesn't have to go out there and ride.
Shaky Byrne, he needs a time in. He's down there in 17th now. This is actually his first flying lap of this session.
What you don't want to be doing is flying off.
It doesn't want to be flying off again. He's been on the ground already in Q1.
So this is shaky. It's he, Tinmouth, Waters, Jessup, Brooks, Ellison, Roger.
This is going to be quick. It's going to be quick, is it, for Shaky? Let's have a look. Where's he gone? No, he didn't.
No,
59.6.
It's only 1 second covering Kianari to Shaky, James. Have you noticed? Look, 56.992, 59. I beg your pardon. It's nearly 3 seconds. Where did I get that idea from? Excuse me, folks. Just wipe out the last 15 seconds. Kianari then still leads the way. Shaky Byrne has got work to do because he's 17th and last. And at the moment, the top men, and it's a rather surprising top, Kianari, build-based BMW, Patrick Muff, the former Swiss champion who has had to take a year out of racing, who's come back in with Batham's BMW as second, Richard Cooper third.
Sorry about that, Jack. That was a huge slide, just as he turned it right. That will not do his confidence any good. That was a huge aquaplane. You couldn't see it from where we were looking. That was a big slide, a huge one. There's Michael Dunlop, goes over the line. Byrne now goes 13th, but that slide cost him, I reckon, it cost him about half a second. It was as you go, you kind of go, the first part of clearways, you go left and then right, and just as he turned it right, the thing just let go both wheels.
And there's one of the IWR Batham's BMWs has gone down. That might be, is it Patrick?
I think he's gone down. Yeah.
So the Swiss rider who's qualified comfortably.
For sure, definitely.
He's qualified comfortably in stage 2 of the Data Tag Extreme qualifying session. The bespectacled Swiss rider. Oh, he's gone down, going in.
And that's going down fairly hard, that bike. And I would suggest that that's got at least maybe a footrest or bits missing, I would say. And he's got not long. He's got probably 15 minutes now to get that sort of thing sorted out. You see how he doesn't leave it? The first thing you do, go and pick it up. You need to ride that again in about another 10 minutes, lad. Get it back.
So Kianari, Patrick Muff is now into 4th place. Kianari, Ben Wilson, Chris Walker are the top 3. Muff here is 4th, and then Cooper, Brooks 6th.
Get this, look. Wilson in 2nd. Walker, he's been on the deck already and got and picked himself back up. Muff's just crashed. Brooks been on the deck twice.
Farmer's not been down yet. There's Chris Walker. He's been looking steady. No, he went down in the first session.
He did, yes, he did. That's what he went down at clearways.
He's tailgating Ben Wilson. Ben Wilson on the Gearlink Kawasaki. Super sport style unaltered as he wrestles that full 1000cc ZX10R round this beautiful little circuit at Brands Hatch.
In this situation and condition, you would definitely have your money on Chris Walker. That's the bike number 9 with the fluorescent helmet in 2nd in this shot. Nothing against Ben at all. Knows how to ride a bike, but he's back into the superbike class for the first time in a few years, having had a few seasons very successfully, I've got to say, in super sport. Chris, predominantly a superbike rider throughout his career, and very, very good in these conditions. And I do actually think that Ben is probably holding Chris up a little bit now.
Ben Wilson did actually have a couple of seasons in British Superbikes in 2005 and 2006. Top 12 in 2006.
On a Suzuki.
Kianari, 56.992. So he keeps on improving. He's now just edged a little further into the lead. Wilson 2nd, Walker 3rd, Muff, Cooper, Brooks, Westmoreland, Hopkins, Farmer and Bridewell. Dunlop has been edged out.
Oh, that's Michael Dunlop. That's Michael Dunlop. You can tell from the helmet.
Dunlop has gone down. Brooks goes fastest, 58.855. Never, you can never put the Australian down and out of it. He goes quickest on Milwaukee Yamaha, ahead of Kianari, Wilson and Walker. The men outside the top 10 at the moment. Tommy Bridewell on the 2nd Milwaukee Yamaha, and then Michael Dunlop, who we've just seen fall. Byrne, Jessup, Waters, Ellison and Tinmouth. This is James Westmoreland, who's very quietly been going about his
business.
Typically of the quiet East Yorkshireman, going about his business, and he is got quickest, 58.633.
Yeah, good lap from Westmoreland. Like you say, he's just a quiet lad. He lets his riding do the talking. That's back in the Bill-based garage. Happy with that.
So that was a delightful showing then from 25-year-old James Westmoreland from Whiten near Hull. There he is, number 27. Fifth in British Superbikes last year, of course, qualified for that top 6 showdown. Twice finished 4th on the Brands Grand Prix circuit. Definitely a favourite watering hole of his, literally today. There's number 20, Jenny Tinmouth. She's currently 17th.
She's going to go out now because the checkered flag has gone out.
So too is the man behind her.
Yeah.
Shaky Byrne,
yeah.
13th place. So he'll have a bit of work to do in what we are guaranteed is going to be lovelier weather tomorrow. You can either enjoy the racing here with us on British Eurosport, or you can come along and enjoy much finer weather at Brands Hatch than the wet and blustery conditions we have today. So Westmoreland, Brooks, Kianari, they look to be the top 3. 10th place, Keith Farmer, by 600ths of a second from Tommy Bridewell.
Big men going out here that don't go into Q3. Bridewell, Dunlop, Byrne, Waters, Jessup, Ellison and Tinmouth.
The MCE BSB data tag extreme qualifying 2 session headed by build-based BMW's James Westmoreland ahead of Josh Brooks, Milwaukee Yamaha. Yuichi Kianari making it a build-based BMW 1-3 ahead of Taiko Suzuki's Hopkins. Ben Wilson, Gearlink Kawasaki. Chris Walker on the Lloyd's British GB Moto Kawasaki. Patrick Muff, despite falling on the Batham's BMW ahead of Richard Cooper. The second Batham's bike of Michael Rutter. And Keith Farmer gets that vital 10th place, just ahead of Tommy Bridewell.
He never set a really good time and got himself through to Q3 again, going on to the Cooper Straight, which is exactly the same place he fell off the first time of the 3 that he's fallen off so far. But old Josh, he's nothing if not a trier.
So Josh Brooks then will be preparing, well, hopefully to get out on track. Remember that he's only got 8 minutes in this session to do something about it and get himself on to that pole position. Here is John Hopkins preparing to go out on Taiko Suzuki. Remember that he was on a Crescent Suzuki when he was racing in the championship in 2011, so still the same motorcycle, just a different team.
Problem with Brooks is, you know, I'm not sure. I haven't seen in the garage, that's Shane Byrne, but looking slightly worried. He doesn't have to go out. He will start from where will he start from? He finished 13th. But yeah, Josh Brooks, the question is, can his crew get that bike up and running again? I don't know how much damage there was, I haven't seen it.
So Brooks, Rutter, Westmoreland, Walker, Kianari, Cooper, Wilson, Farmer are amongst the men out on track.
And there is Brooks. Yeah.
And typically wasting no time, the dashing Australian from Bringelly on the outskirts, the suburbs of Sydney, straight back into action.
Yeah, these conditions you want to be staying away from all the painted surfaces. So the white lines at the track, the red and white, you'll see, leave yourself just a little bit of room there. You will be almost clipping that in the dry, not so in the wet. They tend to be a little bit. They put aggregate in the paint, so it's meant to be quite grippy, but it is slippier than the tarmac generally. So you keep away from it.
So Josh Brooks, let's see what sort of time he can set as 39.195 at his first split. We haven't really been taking in too much notice of splits so far, so let's see what he's managed when he comes through clearways, out of the Clark curve, onto the Jack Brabham straight and across the line. 57.544 seconds. A decent first lap then for Brooks. Chris Walker, 57.43, goes quicker. Michael Rutter.
That's Ben Wilson. Getting himself
in the gravel.
Yeah,
that's a Druids.
He hasn't been off the bike. I think he's been straight on with that one.
Michael Rutter running in 4th place, celebrated his 42nd birthday 2 days ago.
Richard Cooper
on his distinctive white leathers.
He's another one just going about his business, getting himself through to wherever he needs to be. There's John Hopkins going through shot, but Cooper again, the Midlander, just doing his job quietly, getting on with it and going quick.
So the ex-Superstock 1000 champion then, Cooper, number 47, fastest man Kianari, number 23, 57.071.
Oh.
And we've got a fall at
that's Farmer, that's Keith Farmer.
Keith Farmer's finally just pushed it a bit too far, so the former Irish Supermoto champion goes down. Farmer so far got 5th place with a 57.5. Michael Rutter, birthday boy 2 days ago, 42 years old, about to race his 420th British Superbike outing this weekend, has gone 2nd.
Cooper goes 4th with that last lap, number 47.
Walker 5th, Hopkins 6th, Westmoreland 7th, Farmer 8th, Wilson 9th.
I think that's Farmer's bike in the background there at...
Yeah, that's Farmer's
Hill.
PR
Yeah,
race.
that's Farmer's Kawasaki, yeah.
And so
we're going to see it, hang on, this, I think this is a replay. Yeah, he's lost the rear. He's just trying to get the taps home, lost the rear. The problem there is the track's dropping away, so you just don't have as much weight on the wheels.
And we've got another fall.
And that's Keogh, that's Kianari. Yeah.
For the first time, Keogh's made a mistake. He's currently on provisional pole, 55.7, with quite an advantage, actually, of over a second on Michael Rutter and Josh Brooks.
This is Clearways. Oh, no, it's before Clearways. And that, to be honest, you know, and did you see how he stuck his hand up? He knows there's people behind him. He's just past riders on track, so he's sticking his hand up, so you've got a better chance of seeing him. Don't want running over, clearly. It looks like he's all right. Bike doesn't look that badly damaged either.
Well, that means that the new leathers will come out tomorrow then, Keogh, as promised. James, we've only had 9 riders out on track so far, and I'm not absolutely clear on who we're missing. But anyway, we've got number 23, Yuichi Kianari, 3-time champion, trudging off. This is number 9, Chris Walker. He fell in the first session, but has been pretty secure since. His last race win, of course, was in the wet at Alton Park, and his fabulously famous single win in World Superbikes was in an absolutely rain-drenched Assen in the north of the Netherlands back in 2006, also on a Kawasaki. Number 9, the Stalker, is currently in 7th place. This might just move him up a bit. No, it doesn't. It leaves him on a 57.568.
And I've done a disservice to Josh Brooks. It wasn't him that fell off towards the end of Q2. It was his teammate Bridewell. So, sorry about that, Josh.
So, Tommy Bridewell, then, is the man who hasn't put a lap in yet. We haven't seen him on screen at all. Look at the energetic movement there of Ben Wilson, who, remember, 2 years ago, well, more like 18 months ago, lost the 2012 British Super Sport Championship by a single point. The nearest that Gearlink Kawasaki and their distinctive, lovely green and orange colours came to winning that title.
And am I saying the obvious here that it will be Bridewell that's the 10th rider that's not out? I think he'd got himself...
I'd already mentioned that.
I thought you would, yeah. So here's me trying to work it out, you boy. Sorry, John. Sorry, Jack.
Kianari, Brooks, Westmoreland. At the moment, we've got 3 riders, of course, on the front row, so that would be Keogh, Brooks, Westy. Walker, Rutter and Cooper would be on the... No, Hopkins has leapt in. Kianari, Brooks, Hopkins, now the front row. Westmoreland, Walker, Rutter on the second row. Cooper, Wilson and Farmer on row 3. As Ben Wilson crosses the line, stays in 8th place.
Still good. This is still a good run for Ben Wilson.
A very good run.
First time back on Superbikes. He's only actually had, well, he's done about a season and a half on a Suzuki Superbike in Vivaldi colours some years ago.
So Kianari, Brooks and Hopkins, there you go. That is currently the front row. So Hopper, number 21, just keeping off the racing line on the Taiko Suzuki. Walker at the moment is on a possible personal best time. Could he launch himself onto the front row of the grid with that distinctive helmet design you see so much of out on the public roads as a replica helmet? Walker currently in 5th place, crosses the line. He loses it on that final stretch and remains in 5th place. Still a second row start.
Yeah, this is good.
And of course the famous Stalker starts that he speaks of. He knows if he gets one of them, then he'll be able to make a bit of ground straight away. So Kianari, Brooks, good starting positions for them potentially at the moment, especially this man after the you know, extravagant litany of accidents he's had during the course of these qualifying sessions.
He spent more time sat on his backside or picking his bike up. But again, brave, and you can't keep a good man down.
He's just trying to get the better at the moment. 55.8, 55.7. He gets it. 55.093. Brooks goes into pole position. Kianari's down, so that might well be it.
I think it will, and that's considerably quicker. That's Hopkins walking back. He's been down. There's the bike.
Hopper strides off, so he remains in 3rd place. Now he's got to hope that it'll just remain like that for the rest of the Data Tag Extreme qualifying 3, because Brooks, Kianari, Hopkins is currently the front 3. Walker, Westmoreland, Cooper, Wilson, Rutter and Farmer are the rest. Wilson crosses the line, remains in 7th place. And another faller, Brooks.
That's Brooks again. Yep.
Oh, Joshua, what a time you're having.
Yeah,
well, he's certainly feeling for the limit, and it's not stopped him at any point feeling for that limit. Is that the 4th time he's been down?
No, 3rd. It was my mistake. It was Bridewell, his teammate. Here we go. This has caught them all out.
Josh.
Right from mid-corner. Yeah, that's...
Oh,
yep.
dear. I hope that wasn't as painful as it looked. He seemed all right as he got up. He might probably feel it tomorrow.
No, that's all right. And when you hit the ground when it's wet, you don't get that jarring because your leathers don't grip on the surface. You kind of slide easier.
So Josh Brooks, who's 30, who would be heading for his 31st birthday on the 20th.